Okay, here we go. We are live again on another Friday. I believe this is the 17th Love Your Liver live stream. And I am Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the nutrition detective around these parts. And my goal here is to help everybody out there wake up to the fact that we have been systematically poisoned by the science and the researchers and pretty much everybody big out there on both sides of the conventional and alternative medical communities. And this is reflected in today's health of the world population. So first, I like to cover a couple topics. If you want to ask questions during this, I do take questions after I go through a couple topics of the day. I have several topics to go over today. And so you got to be a subscriber to the channel. Then you can post your questions. Then we will get to them in order as we go through. For those of you who want to super chat, your super chat will go to the top. So first little topic. So one of the things that I use with my clients, and I found it to be so important to what we are doing to trying to fix the liver and the bile ducts, which is the reason for all of your health problems, is a little known protein that comes from, typically we would get it from mammal's milk, but our entire body, the epithelial cells of the body, there's a lot of them, and the neutrophils in the body make lactoferrin for us our entire lives. Everybody tends to think of it's only from breast milk or, mammal milk. It comes in cow's milk. It comes in camel's milk. It comes in human breast milk. It comes in mammal milk, and it's in all of our bodily secretions, tears, saliva, mucus, all of it. So I have started selling my own brand of Nutrition Detective Lactoferrin. And on that note, one of the things that I can tend to do is I can tend to take just about any health condition out there and show that lactoferrin, in the research, that lactoferrin has benefited that condition. So one of the big topics in the last week, maybe you've heard, was smallpox coming up. Supposedly eradicated since 1980, but now vials of smallpox are showing up and everybody's getting freaked out about it. And since it was supposedly eradicated in 1980, probably only doing research in, like biological weapons labs on it, maybe. There's not a lot of research on what can treat it. So one of the things I found, so somebody asked, what can we do if this was to be the next problem? What can we do to prevent it? So usually what I do here is I go and I start looking up lactoferrin and the various things. So what did I find? Oh, that's still too many. I can't take the quote out of there. So what did I have? So I went and I looked up lactoferrin, what kind of, what does it help with in terms of pathogens, lactoferrin helps with everything. But here's the quote from the paper. Let me say the title of it. I just put the link in the chat. Association of viral infections with oral cavity lesions. So problems in the mouth. Role of SARS-CoV-2 infection. That would be COVID if you were not aware. So what's the quote from here? Quote, in particular, lactoferrin, an iron-binding glycoprotein of the transferrin family, can inactivate many deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, and ribonucleic acid, RNA, viruses, including cytomegalovirus, herpes simplex virus, and rotavirus. And they have two references there. So then I thought, well, let me go look up smallpox, double check on what kind of virus that might be, see how that might relate to what we already know about lactoferrin. So the paper, did I get the wrong link here? No. So from a link called, well, it's about variola major and variola minor, which are the smallpox virus. I will put that link in the comments, in the chat. So what is smallpox? Is it a DNA virus? Is it an RNA virus? What is it? So here we have the quote: smallpox is a deadly and highly contagious disease caused by variola major, a double-stranded DNA orthopox virus, end quote. So am I going to say that we have direct evidence here? No. I'm not going to hang myself out to dry like that. What we are saying is that lactoferrin, there seems to be research on it inactivating DNA viruses, and it just so happens that smallpox is a DNA virus. So you can make conclusions as you will. Well, first, and then the other thing you may want to go do is look up lactoferrin and, I don't know, COVID. Go see the multiple papers that are out there on that. And if you are looking for the best stuff on the market, this is the Nutrition Detective Lactoferrin. You can find it at nutritiondetective.com in the store. For those of you who would like to get an even better price, you would want to join the Love Your Liver Network, which can also be found at nutritiondetective.com. And that's how you can get protecting yourself from all of these interesting things that seem to be floating around these days. So now, next topic. Somebody posted this in the network. The celebrity chef who created the world's healthiest meal dies at age 43. This is a celebrity chef, Gurpreet Bains, dead. Here, let me put the article here. This is a man who was, as they say in here, let me get back to who he cooked for. He cooked for all sorts of celebrities. The celebrity chef whose cookbooks based on using the power of superfoods led to him having many famous fans passed away from a heart attack. Well, what was he probably using? He was probably doing a plant-based diet because, as you know, the elites would want you to stop eating animal protein, especially beef, because that makes for a weaker population, easier to control. So I'm sure it was plant-based, and I'm sure it was all brightly colored fruits and vegetables, which means vitamin A, carotenoids, and polyphenols. Phenol being, it was used as a biological weapon in World War I, and then you get multiple phenols. So yeah, brightly colored fruits and vegetables, and then he was probably using lots of brightly colored and smelly, like garlic and herbs. He was probably using tons of brightly colored, strong tasting, smelly, brightly colored herbs. I probably repeated myself in there. And this is a man who obviously doesn't have any shortage of money in terms of eating. He's working as a celebrity chef, and he died at 43 of a heart attack. What I am telling you is superfoods are the most toxic foods. That is really what I'm telling you. And people who eat tons of superfoods all the time will get sick earlier. They may have a little bonus, like a little health benefit at the start, and then they all write their testimonials. Remember, testimonials are usually written within like the first week or month of people starting some new diet or starting some new supplement. So they're in the honeymoon phase. And then when that all ends, they're sicker than ever before, and they have completely hijacked their liver's detox system your detox system is very much run as an oxidative system in your liver. Your liver oxidizes things to detox them. And then you throw in a ton of plant antioxidants that are foreign to your body, and it slows down your liver detox systems. And then you tend to get things like, let's say a low protein diet, the research shows leads to cholestasis, which is bile going back into your bloodstream. You have polyphenols slowing down your liver's detox system called the ALDH system. You have people trying to eat smelly sulfur foods like cruciferous vegetables, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, all that stuff. Those are poison. Sulfur slows down your ALDH system and depletes your B1. I forgot to add polyphenols deplete your B1 and slow down your sulfur and slow down your detox system. Then we have, nightshades. Those are some of the brightest colored foods out there. Super high in vitamin A, known for centuries to cause and increase inflammation. There's a real problem with these health foods, and you have been lied to. Just remember who funds most of the corrupt research that's out today. It's funded at universities by big pharma. So you think about whether you're getting the evidence that is really out there. One of the BMJ, the old editors, said that modern nutrition, or not modern research, should be assumed to be corrupt until proven otherwise. And all you need to do is look at the people who do certain things. Agenus von der Planet's The Primal Diet. He was kind of a carnivore-ish guy. He dies in his 50s. The world's healthiest chef, or the chef of the world's healthiest meal, dies in his early 40s. We have Weston A. Price, people dying of rare brain tumors after consuming lots of fermented cod liver oil, which if you go and you look in the research, you'll find that oxidized PUFAs are linked with brain cancer. There is no such thing as fermented oil. It's only rancid, oxidized. That's bad. And then you add vitamin A and vitamin D to that, vitamin D being rat poison taken by mouth, and you have all sorts of problems pop up. So what I'm telling you is, as usual, you are being lied to from every single direction. So if you think you've been lied to by politicians, if you think you've been lied to by big pharma, if you think you've been lied to by everybody, but yet you still think that nutrition couldn't be corrupted, and that there's people out there who aren't horribly misunderstanding this and they're just very good at marketing and selling you on this stuff, you fell into their trap. I'm just trying to get people out of it. You don't need to eat brightly colored foods. You should not be eating smelly foods. You should not be eating bitter foods. That's how nature marks poison. It's called aposematism. A-P-O-S-E-M-A-T-I-S-M. Aposematism. It is how nature marks poisonous foods. And most of what people think is healthy for them right today, brightly colored, stinky, like garlic and onions and all that. And then it's bitter. Vegetables are bitter. So I have multiple articles, just so you know. I spoke at the Weston Price convention. I believe it was back in 2012. I could be wrong, but I spoke on nightshades, and I have multiple articles. If you search nightshade Garrett Smith, you'll find my article, and I have more in-depth articles. The articles that presentation and that shorter article was based on, I have those available in the detox program, in the Love Your Liver detox program. So next, I wanted to go into one of the diets that really irks me is the pro-metabolic, also known as the Ray Peat approach to dieting. Now, maybe you've been out there and you've tried this diet, and you may have felt a little better at the beginning, this honeymoon phase, this duration paradox, and then probably what happened was your health problems didn't go away. They got worse. You got more health problems. And for most people, they just get horrendously fat. And no one seems to think this is a problem. And then not only are they not pro-metabolic, but eventually people get put on thyroid hormone, or they put themselves on thyroid glandular because they're ruining their thyroid. Seen it happen. I get multiple health refugees from this approach. I did it for a while. Within 2 weeks, I had raging sinus headaches from all the dairy. I was even trying to do goat dairy. And little did I know, later on, I'd find out that goat dairy is even higher in vitamin A poison than cow dairy is. And I was never one for headaches. Andrew says Ray Peat's a psyop. It is. Man, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to talk about three people. Two are together as a group, and one is on YouTube. One woman is out there. She has no cycle at all, and she's a big fan of a protocol, a certain Schmoot Laws protocol, and Ray Peat's work. And she has no cycle. Let me explain something to you. Amenorrhea, or no cycle. Really, we only have one job on this earth in this existence, and that is to procreate. You're born, you procreate, you die. So, if that is our design, and we have young women who are following silly, stupid diet approaches, and they have no cycle. Fertility is the greatest definer of health. If you are infertile, like other than after menopause, if you are infertile as a person in reproductive age, you are by definition unhealthy. There is no other way about it. You take birth control to make you infertile, you are by definition unhealthier than when you started. Fertility is health. So we got one Ray Peat and protocol follower out there who loves to do her YouTubes and talk about all the things she's eating nose to tail and all the carrot salad nonsense and whatever. She has no cycle. Then there's a couple out there, man and a woman. Man is obese, woman is infertile. Oh wait, is this a pattern? And they like to give advice on health for thousands of dollars. You need to look at who you're following and see if they have the results that you want. World's healthiest meal guide, dying early. Ray Peters are just, I remember I saw a post, I actually posted the link once on the Ray Peat website. Somebody went on there and they're like, where are all the wonderful testimonials and anecdotes of people like fixing all their problems on here? All that happened was that person got attacked on the forum. That's all that happened. No one sat there and said, I've had amazing things happen. People go and they do this approach and they get stuck on methylene blue, which is a drug. They get stuck on thyroid glandular. They do all sorts of weird things to try to boost their metabolism. I'm going to tell you that there's a different approach out there. It's stop screwing up your metabolism, right? Think about it. Somebody could be like, well, my car doesn't drive fast enough. I need to put a turbo booster on it. So they do, and it goes a bit faster. But what nobody ever told them was they're like, hey, did you ever think of taking the emergency brake off first? That might stop ruining your car from going the speed that it's supposed to. The biggest thing that we can do is to take the poisons out. The problem is most people don't know what the poisons are and they keep shoving more of them down their throat. So let's go into this Ray Peat anecdote, testimonial, posted by somebody on the network, a refugee, if you will. So I want you to listen to this. Quote, I started on the Ray Peat inspired diet in September 2020 after doing keto/carnivore, mostly keto, plus intermittent fasting for about 2.5 years. A relevant bit of data too, about 5 years ago, I did a course of Accutane, that's vitamin A poison from the pharmaceutical companies, if you didn't know, which seemed to make it much harder to lose weight, annihilated my libido, and gave me anxiety, joint pain, and brain fog permanently. At the time, I was feeling incredibly burnt out and run down. Peat people told me that that was because I was stuck in lipolysis, which is a suboptimal stress hormone run state, and that it was much better to be fueled by carbs and sugars in particular. At the time, this made sense to me, as I did feel awful and super burnt out after no carbs plus fasting for that long. And I dove head first into pounding orange juice, milk, ice cream, eggs, liver, oysters, coffee, lots of sugar, fruit, etc. Initially, this gave me insane brain fog, especially the orange juice. Oh, I don't know, cocktail, adrenal cocktail, anyone? But I chalked it up to being stuck in fat metabolism and powered through. It did get better and I felt energy and vitality that I hadn't felt in a long time, but I also gained a ton of weight, like close to 70 pounds in less than 6 months. Let me repeat this. This is a male gaining close to 70 pounds in less than 6 months. I believe I knew another gentleman who gained 30 pounds in 2 months. They told him at first he was on a gallon of milk a day. And then as he's gaining weight and he's saying, what's going on? What did they do? Instead of the definition of insanity popping into their head and going, wait, maybe this isn't working. Maybe we shouldn't have him drink so much milk. They doubled the milk. 2 gallons a day of milk. Within a month or two, I can't remember the exact time, but he had gained 30 pounds. Let me give you some, I'll come back to the testimonial, but let me give you a tip. If you want to get fat, drink calories. That is the way to get fat, is to drink calories. Drink juice, drink milk, there's people out there drinking basically liquid fat MCTs. Go ahead and make bulletproof coffee and put liquid fat in it. Go ahead. See how that ends up. Drinking, how do babies gain weight? When babies are the smallest they're ever going to be and they're going to grow the fastest they ever are going to grow, what does nature give them? Milk. If you're an adult and you're done growing upwards, what is the only other direction you can grow? Outwards. Okay. I have posted the, so let's just go over some of these things. Let's go over oranges causing fatty liver. Here we go. Here's oranges. Raw orange consumption, raw orange intake is associated with higher prevalence of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in an adult population. Okay, so there we got that. Now, let's go into fructose, alcohol, buzz, PubMed. So you can go and read Lustig's paper on how basically fructose does everything that alcohol does in your system without giving you the buzz of alcohol. And all of the liver damage that fructose causes is the same. Now then there's going to be the people who say that fruit sugar, natural fruit sugar, is somehow different than, gotta find this paper. Differential effects of honey, sucrose, and fructose on blood sugar levels. Let's see. Is this the one I was looking for? No, that's not the one I was looking for. Let's see if we can't find it. Lipids. It goes under lipids. Okay, here we go. So for any of you who like to live the lie that different sources of sugar would act differently in the body, the appeal to nature fallacy, you're making a gigantic mistake. They'll say, oh, vitamin A in food is somehow different than vitamin A in supplements. Not true at all. Research doesn't show that. They're completely wrong. And then let's go over this one about sugar, because they'll love to say, well, fruit, fructose, it's magically different and protective against all the sugar problems. And I go, well, then you got Ray Peters drinking Mexican Coke. What in the world did anyone ever believe that drinking Coke and eating ice cream was any way to health? Like, they've been hiding the way to health from us. It's all been right there. We just eat ice cream and drink orange juice and pound milk and drink Mexican Coke. That's the answer to health. I can't believe these people have been keeping this from us. And and I believed it at one point. So don't feel bad. If you got sucked into it, I believed it at one point. I watched what I did was I watched, and what I tell people to do is I watched how I felt like garbage from doing it, and I got fat. I had a woman who I believe gained 100 pounds doing the whole pro-metabolic thing. 100 pounds. Got her on the low vitamin A diet. I think she's down 60 pounds already. Gaining all that fat weight's not good for you. I don't care about the people who say that being fat is healthy. No, you can't be, nobody is obese and healthy at the same time. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. So anyway, back to this paper. Here's the title of the paper: Consumption of honey, sucrose, and high fructose corn syrup produces similar metabolic effects in glucose tolerant and intolerant individuals. Did I put that one on there yet? Let me click on this. Is that the one? Yeah, okay, so I already put it on there. Didn't want to put it on twice. Let's just go to the last line in the conclusions. Daily intake of 50 grams of carbohydrate from honey, sucrose, or HFCS 55, that's high fructose corn syrup, 55% fructose, for 14 days resulted in similar effects on measures of glycemia, blood sugar control is what that is, lipid metabolism, triglycerides, cholesterol, and inflammation. All three increased triglyceride concentrations in both glucose tolerant and intolerant individuals, and elevated glycemic and inflammatory responses in the latter. It would seem that fructose is fructose. So whether you're eating Mexican Coke or bananas or oranges, it's all metabolized the same. Now, can you get different amounts? Yeah, if you're eating whole fruit, you're not going to be getting that much fructose. There's not that much sugar in fruit. That's why people concentrate it into things like orange juice to give themselves fatty liver as fast as possible, I guess. So that's that. I think. Oh, so let me finish the anecdote. So this continuing the quote, I decided that this meant I had gone from low carb to high carb faster than my metabolism could handle and tried not to worry about it too much. I hired a Peat coach. First of all, there is no Peat clinic anywhere. Ray Peat answers emails for free, which the value of something is what you pay for it. So if you're getting free advice over email, that's one thing. I have also heard rumors that when people are doing what is suggested and it doesn't work, they don't blame the system. They simply stop replying to the emails. That's an interesting approach. I hired a Peat coach nutritionist to help me lose weight. She was stumped as to why my now fast metabolism wasn't making the fat melt off while eating the Peat diet of fruit juice, milk, ice cream, meat, collagen, etc. Told me to take desiccated thyroid. This gave me heart palpitations and did not help me lose weight. Newsflash, if you go on a diet and the diet induces you to have to need thyroid hormone, it's a poison diet. It's ruining your thyroid. Okay, so let's continue. I stopped working with her. Good idea. And then started noticing other disturbing issues pop up that I never really had while in low carb land. Yes, my energy wasn't as low and I did not feel as ragged, but my problems with low libido seemed to be even worse. It was completely non-existent. Also, my testicles seemed to be profoundly shrunken, like shrunken so small that it hurt. Erection quality was also going away, way down, and sex basically felt like nothing. My breath and body developed a strangely unpleasant new scent. I developed dandruff, never had dandruff in my life. Also, I started to have pain in the upper right quadrant of my abdomen. That's where your liver is. This accompanied by slightly yellow eyes, that's called jaundice, and itchy skin, that's called a sign of cholestasis, where the bile's coming out through your skin, led me to realize that something was going wrong with my liver. Good job. This diet is straight up poison. It was at this point that I connected the dots and realized that it was Accutane that had decimated my libido and left me with TMJ, documented in the literature, and painful joints, documented in the literature, plus bad brain fog and anxiety. Then I started to look into the connections between Accutane damage and vitamin A toxicity. And then I landed here in the detox network. Now I am realizing that I probably did indeed go too far in the opposite direction from keto/carnivore, and that I ended up in the nutritional loony bin with Dr. Peat and his crew, his words. I am ready to do what it takes to finally get my health back and reverse the damage Accutane and peating did to me. Very glad to be here. So this is a person who's new to the approach. They don't have a ton of, testimonial in terms of what we're going to help him with, but that's a warning, folks. If you think fructose is going to save you from anything, whether you're eating whole fruit or fruit juice or anything like that, it's not. It's not. If you're eating the cockroaches of the ocean, as in shellfish, thinking that those are really good sources of zinc, they're not. And that diet that we went over just now is extremely high in copper. Copper displaces zinc in the body. You need zinc for proper testosterone production. And to kick copper out of places it shouldn't be, copper is extremely estrogenic. So we have a gentleman here with no libido, and his sexual function is basically disappearing as he does this diet. This is copper toxicity and vitamin A toxicity. That is what is going on. This is cholestasis. He's getting jaundice. That is the definition of cholestasis. He's having bile show up in the whites of his eyes because he's having bile going backwards into the blood. That is cholestasis. Liver pain. You should be, in a certain way, people might actually want to be thankful that you get liver pain so that you can realize that, oh my gosh, I'm doing something horribly wrong for my liver. Normally the liver suffers in silence. So actually, like I tell people who are extra sensitive to things, in a way, it's good because your body's protecting you. Your body's actually saying something. The people I feel the worst for, I call them the people that you have to hit a sledgehammer with for them to feel something. Those of you who are out there and you're like, I never feel anything. Nothing I ever do changes anything. Well, first of all, I go, well, you're here and your health isn't good. So you obviously feel something. Obviously, at some point you decided this doesn't feel good. And then those people need to really pay attention. They either need to really do nutritional testing because they're not good at sensing it themselves. So we have to use blood and hair to watch their nutritional status for them because they don't notice if they feel better if they take something or not. And then they just need to pay more attention and take any good or bad sign and start putting it together into a picture. Now, one of the things I do with my personal clients, my individual clients, is I do what's called office hours, where twice a week for 1 hour each, I do a live Zoom call where people can join me and ask questions. And that's where we really fine tune what I do. So a person who buys a package with me, the testing and consultation package, they get 6 months of access to that Zoom group, 2 hours, a week worth. And there's one in the morning and one at night. So I try to make it so we can fit everybody in. So that's the Ray Peat thing. Now, the last thing I wanted to go over, I know I haven't gotten many questions at all, but let me put this link in here. So a lot of people are kind of worried about the pokey jab. The pokey jab and its effects on infertility. and the human reproductive system. Now, first of all, go look on this channel and go watch the vitamin A causes infertility video. Go watch that. Now, I'm going to make a video, I think, sometime soon for Rumble on how vitamin A is Bill Gates' favorite vitamin. I believe it was Bill Gates who was talking about smallpox recently. Bill Gates loves vitamin A. Bill Gates loves the pokey jabs. Bill Gates talking about smallpox. Really interesting coincidences here. And no, there's no difference between beta carotene in Bill Gates' genetically modified golden rice or his genetically modified low sugar bananas that he wants to sell to, Africa and Asia. There's no difference in that vitamin A. He knows what it's doing. And in poor countries, they give them multivitamins with the minimal amount of vitamin A thought to cause birth defects. And they make sure to give the vitamin A when they give pokey jabs. They give them at the same time. They give mega dose vitamin A at the same time they give the pokey jabs. If it looks like a rose and it smells like a rose, it's probably a rose. Except in this, it's a load of BS. Okay? So, I wanted to read this. So I think I put the link there. Did I put the link there? Yes, the PZP. So let me read this. They're talking about PZP. We're talking about the Science and Conservation Center. Somebody sent me this. Thank you. So let's read this. What is PZP? The zona pellucida, ZP, is a glycoprotein membrane that surrounds all mammalian eggs. Certain proteins in the membrane serve as the sperm receptor. The contraceptive vaccine. Wait. The contraceptive vaccine. So they have it already, just so you know. Produced by the Science and Conservation Center, uses the zona pellucida from the pig, thus the name porcine zona pellucida, PZP. Briefly, the PZP is produced by a complex process whereby the zona pellucida is removed from the ovum, that's the egg, its glycoproteins extracted, isolated, and converted into a vaccine. The vaccine stimulates the target animal to produce antibodies which attach to its own zona pellucida, thus blocking fertilization and causing contraception. Here's the key part. So I just want to make sure contraceptive vaccine exists for animals. It works. The PZP vaccine is usually given initially in a series of 2 vaccinations 2 to 6 weeks apart, and then a booster every 8 months to a year, catch this, depending on the species. The PZP vaccine is usually given initially in a series of 2 vaccinations, 2 to 6 weeks apart, and then a booster every 8 months to a year, depending upon the species. The PZP is emulsified with an adjuvant to stimulate the animal's immune system. Now, if you were to go and look up, lipid nanoparticles and emulsifiers and adjuvants in recent pokey jabs, you'd find that they have those in it. And then it says, please go to our protocol page for additional information. Let me just read these very 2 important lines again. The contraceptive vaccine produced by the Science and Conservation Center uses the zona pellucida from the pig, thus the name porcine zona pellucida. And then we have the PZP vaccine is usually given initially in a series of 2 vaccinations, 2 to 6 weeks apart, and then a booster every 8 months to a year, depending upon the species. The PZP is emulsified with an adjuvant to stimulate the animal's immune system. Now, some of you out there are going, wow, this sounds really, really, really familiar to something that's going on right now. Similar recommendations, similar timing. The link's in the chat. So that's all that the topics I was going to go over. I know I did a lot of the time on that, but Muzafar asked, can you freeze camel milk for later use? Yes, they actually sell camel milk. They sell camel milk. They send it frozen. So can it be frozen? Yes. Pasture. So one of the things about our lactoferrin is our lactoferrin comes from fresh milk from French cows. They filter it out. There's no chemical extraction. And they spray dry it because they're trying to expose it to as little heat as possible. So there is as little denaturation as possible in the lactoferrin that we get. 95% not denatured. Now, the other brands, for people who want to, save a penny here or there, the other brands, they are derived from whey as a byproduct of cheese making. So you're getting lactoferrin from a byproduct of another dairy process. It's going to have some denaturation in it. What we are believing now that we see in our people is that the denatured proteins tend to cause bile dumping, which tends to aggravate some symptoms for people along the way. Ours seems to do much less aggravation of symptoms. Now, if you go and you do milk, whether you're doing camel milk, or for those of you out there who still can't figure out that raw cow milk is really not a great thing to be consuming a lot of, there is lactoferrin in raw milk. There is lactoferrin in raw camel milk, yes. But you're going to get all the other stuff, all the other non-human proteins that are designed to trigger activities in the species they're designed for. You're going to be getting all that. You're going to be getting all that extra calcium. And I know for camel's milk, you're going to be paying through the nose. Camel's milk is super expensive. But what is the basis of camel milk helping people? It's the lactoferrin in it. Don't fool yourself. It's the lactoferrin. People are just drinking lactoferrin in camel's milk. Camel's milk is, the lactoferrin in it is 90% similar to humans. And camel's milk has the highest amount of lactoferrin per liquid, amount, liter, milliliter, however you want to measure it. It's super expensive. So if you decide to go that route, that's the legit route. I personally will continue doing my bovine lactoferrin from cows. It's a single protein. Generally, what the internet says about lactoferrin, for those of you who have a dairy intolerance, is that it doesn't cause dairy problems in people who are sensitive because it's one protein, 60% similar to human lactoferrin. It helps. What can I say? Maybe next week I'll go over some of the diseases. You guys, if you want to come in with diseases, and I can go and show how they're connected to high bile in the blood, and then how lactoferrin helps, we can go over that. So the ADB1 posted the dish. This is the world's healthiest meal. Was a simple chicken curry with blueberries, which contained the antioxidant equivalent of 23 bunches of grapes. You folks and your blueberries, your polyphenols, and your curries, which have nightshades in them. They have, cayenne pepper and other spices and chili pepper flakes or whatever. You got your turmeric, which is yellow because it's full of very specific carotenoids. They make sure to cook it with fat so that you're going to absorb all of these poisons. Whenever people talk about eating fat to absorb fat-soluble vitamins, they're basically just trying to poison you more. You don't absorb much vitamin. If you didn't eat any fat at a meal and you ate a bunch of carotenoid foods, you would hardly absorb any of that carotenoids from that meal. You have to have fat to absorb the poison called vitamin A. Somebody else posted about, about goji berries as a nightshade. Goji berries are a nightshade. They are super high in vitamin A. Goji berries are not a superfood. And just remember, so this is how they're getting everybody. They're making everybody pay these crazy prices for all these fruits and vegetables and superfoods, and they're poisoning you at the same time. Isn't that you have to admire, I have to admire the evil brilliance of these people. They're taking your money for you to try to be healthy. And then when you get sick, they're taking your money again. And then they're giving you drugs that make you even less healthy. So then what do? Some people get out of the hospital and then they go and they start trying to eat healthy again, and they make themselves even sicker. And they go back to the hospital. And everybody wonders why everybody's so sick, because the people who don't care about their health are getting sick. And the people who care about their health, which is admirable, they're taking steps, but they've got all the wrong information and they're making themselves even sicker. You go and you look around Whole Foods and I see a bunch of sick people. I went to the Weston Price conference and everybody there looked sick. I was like, wait, whoa. Shouldn't I be seeing like all these super vital people? It's not what I saw. Butch says, you are suspicious of sulfur. I'm not suspicious of sulfur. It's a poison. How about MSM as a supplement? Is it the same thing? Okay, so I got duped. The reason I know a lot of these things is because I was a health nut and I did a lot of these things. And I don't want to go over this story too long, but there was a gentleman out there selling organic sulfur. And first of all, when I talked to him on the phone, he sounded like horrible emphysema, like lifetime smoker, just horrible voice to listen to. Hacking, coughing. And I'm going to tell you, if you're going to get your health advice for somebody, they should not sound like that. I looked past it at the time. We all make our mistakes. I have too. That's how I learned a lot of this stuff. What did this guy tell me? This is how I started to learn. This is one of the hammers that hit me in the head. He said, if you ever feel bad from organic sulfur, it's a sign of detox and you should take more. If hitting your head against this wall makes your head hurt, you should obviously hit your head harder and faster. That will help fix it. That's the logic here. There's no logic. It doesn't make sense. But I was going along and I had the honeymoon phase of MSM, which is what a lot of people have. I started to feel better. I was like giddy happy for about 10 days. And I decided that I was starting to feel a little something off. And so I started taking more MSM, and then I started taking more. And this is all within 10 days. And then the wheels fell off. The honeymoon ended, and I was left with horrible insomnia. I was left with this burning pain in my right thigh that if I walked anywhere, it was like building up lactic acid within 50 steps. It was the most horrible. My overdose on MSM was the most horrible period health-wise of my life. So the people who say MSM is some magical thing, no, it's poison. Just to throw in a little religious thing here, in the Bible, brimstone is sulfur. Brimstone is the smell of hell and Satan. People think it's going to help their health. Gosh, who would be deceiving people into eating more sulfur for health? I can tell you on a hair test, I've never seen anybody deficient in sulfur. Nobody ever has a sulfur deficiency. Sulfur is in everything you eat. There is no such thing as a sulfur deficiency. Go look up, go try to prove that there's sulfur deficiencies out there. There are not. So this MSM thing, funny little story, I talked to somebody about it and they said, I think you should email Stephanie Seneff. Many of you out there will know who that is. I emailed her. I told her what was going on. I said, I heard you were kind of a sulfur expert. And she said, it sounds like you have hydrogen sulfide poisoning. So what was happening was I was taking in all this MSM and my body was turning it into hydrogen sulfide, a poison. That's like that's part of what kills people after volcanic blasts are these hydrogen sulfide clouds that basically suffocate them. And I was making it in my body, was her theory, that my symptoms matched up. Now, funny thing, I go and I start researching and I find a paper of a guy who lived on top of a landfill. And he knew eventually that, he found out eventually that hydrogen sulfide was coming up from the ground, from the trash. And he had a burning pain in his right quad, just like mine. So I decided that Stephanie Seneff was right. Doing what I do, I started researching it, and I found out that B12 was a remedy for hydrogen sulfide poisoning. So I'm a physician, so I can order all this stuff. I ordered injectable hydroxycobalamin. I did not want the cyano. I ordered injectable hydroxycobalamin, and I had a naturopathic student there who was able to run IVs under my supervision. And I was running IVs of B12, not just injections. I injected I did IM injections, intramuscular injections the first day. I did 1 in each shoulder. I did 1 in each quad. I did 1 in each butt cheek. I did 4 across my subcutaneous fat in the lower belly. And then I got IVs of it. I was peeing fruit punch. It looked like I was peeing fruit punch. And within that first day, I got rid of 90% of my pain and my problems. I was poisoned by MSM. I was absolutely poisoned. No one should be increasing the sulfur in their diet. No one should be trying to take Epsom salt baths to increase the sulfur in their body. What are the biggest things that cause problems with sulfur metabolism? Molybdenum deficiency. People go, molybdenum, what is that? How do you even say that word? Well, it's on the ARL, not the ARL, the TEI, trace elements hair tests. And I fix that in people. And then we see a lot of people's problems from molybdenum deficiency go away. Things like, and I don't advocate drinking alcohol, but when people don't tolerate alcohol very well at all, that's a molybdenum deficiency sign. When people get symptoms they don't normally get from other types of alcohol, from wine, that's a sulfite problem. You are not metabolizing your sulfites right. Sulfur, that's a molybdenum deficiency. When people have real trouble tolerating caffeine or xanthines, you need molybdenum to run xanthine oxidase, which is the enzyme that detoxes that caffeine pesticide that you're gladly putting in your body. You're paying good prices to poison yourself with coffee and caffeine. And then generally people who have yeast or fungal issues have a molybdenum deficiency. Now, if you go out and you start supplementing molybdenum based on what I just said, and you're doing the wrong amount, could you take too much? Yep, absolutely. Yes, you can. There's pills out there that range from 50 micrograms to 1,000 micrograms per pill. 50 to 1,000. You can poison yourself real quick with those high-end molybdenum supplements, real quick. I've had to help people of mine who did it because they didn't read my instructions and they took 7 times more molybdenum than I said. This isn't a game. I had a client who I talked to the other day who took me seriously about, it's not time to mess around. This isn't a game. Don't go and do all this on yourself. I've been in this game 15 years now. And people want to hear me talk once and then go and do it on their own. And I'm like, oh, good luck with that. I'll be here when you're done. If you've been messing up your health for like 10 or 20 years, maybe it's time to give the reins over to somebody else. So anyway, MSM, we do not emphasize MSM on the program. If you're having sulfur farts, if you have sulfur smelling gas, you got a sulfur problem too. That's another dead giveaway. If you take an Epsom salt bath and you feel like it gives you a bunch of heart palpitations or makes you lightheaded or faint or dizzy or whatever, you have a sulfur problem. When I was really molybdenum deficient after that MSM debacle, if I did an Epsom salt bath, I couldn't sleep for 3 days straight. Now I have no problem with Epsom salts, but I would never use them. I use magnesium chloride and I use pharmaceutical grade magnesium chloride. I don't use the flakes that are sold from Zechstein or any of that stuff because they have contaminants in them. You dissolve them in water and the water is cloudy. Pharmaceutical grade magnesium chloride is not cloudy and can be used in fish tanks, coral reef fish tanks, because it's that clean. I talk about the place to get the best deal on magnesium chloride in the Detox Network. So Christine asks, is it wise to try and conceive and be pregnant while vitamin A detoxing? That I generally, as a CYA statement on my part, I do not advocate people starting hardcore detox while they are trying to get pregnant or while they are pregnant. Or even nursing. Can people make, if you want my direct advice on what each person should do, that's what I do in my private consults. I don't make blanket statements, but generally, if people, let's say people look at their diet and they go, wow, I'm eating like 10 eggs a week. And don't forget, we have the studies on 2 or more eggs a week causing fatty liver. Oopsie. Let's say they're eating 8 eggs a week and we go, how about if you don't eat so many eggs? Is that like a hardcore detox? No. Does that reduce their vitamin A intake a lot? And does that take a lot of strain off their liver? Yep. The other thing about eggs, super high sulfur in the yolks. That's why egg protein gives such nasty sulfur farts. Egg white protein. But eggs are so healthy. No. Nope. So I don't, can people make maneuvers in the right direction? Like as an example, one of the big things I advocate is that you eat as organically as possible because at least you're reducing the poisons we know. Is that should that be any problem? To eat cleaner food? No. Can people do that? Sure. Can they take one food that is super high in vitamin A or polyphenols and switch it out for another food that is way lower in vitamin A and polyphenols? Yeah, that's easy. That's just a switch. People who want to dive in, the other thing is as if we do it more gradually for somebody who is in a situation like trying to conceive, they're actually pregnant or nursing, if we do things slower, there will not tend to be as big a dumps, which is it's all part of the baby. I mean, how does Accutane cause birth defects? It directly causes liver damage. And that means that there's bile in the blood and that is directly affecting the babies. And that's why we have at least a 60% jaundice rate of newborns in the hospitals. Because moms are toxic and their livers are in a bad way. If you're going to have kids, here's what I would say. If you're going to have kids, you should do it sooner rather than later because it's not going to get any easier out there. I'll put it that way. So on to, how about stevia as a non-caloric caloric sweetener? I went over stevia and artificial sweeteners and natural sweeteners several live streams ago. It should be in the I'm catching up on the descriptions of all these live streams, but I went over stevia, I went over sucralose, I went over aspartame, NutraSweet, stevia and liver injury. Just go Google stevia and liver injury. Sweet things tend to damage the liver. It's just the nature of the beast, it seems. So I can go out and find just about anything sweet. The only thing I haven't found any evidence on yet is monk fruit. Xylitol, sugar alcohols, liver injury, anything that people are trying to use to sweeten things generally is going to cause liver injury. And now you've got all the carnivores and everybody going, ooh, let's do tons of fruit and honey. And I'm like, oh man, you guys already have a high fat diet, which leads to liver injury and cholestasis. And now you're going to go and add a high fructose diet to it. It's not going to end well. But people can feel better at the start of giving themselves fatty liver because the bile stops coming out of their liver and it's now getting stored as fatty liver. So the poison that was being constantly released into their bloodstream is now being jammed back into their liver. And so they feel better for a while. This is just like in people's houses where they go, well, okay, so-and-so moved out of that room. We have too much crap in our house everywhere. Let's just put all the crap in their room for now. And they start putting it all in there because everybody has too much stuff these days, right? So they just start putting the stuff in that room until that room's full. And now they've still got too much crap and the room is full. And now they have to start putting crap everywhere else in their house. And then finally the problems start showing up everywhere else. It's the kicking the can down the road thing. Your liver is an amazing organ. The only thing you should ever think about your liver is good things. Don't ever think bad things about your liver. Your liver takes a bullet every day for you. If your liver is not functioning well, it is because of what has happened to it or what you are actively doing to it. That is why it's not functioning well. And the only thing you should be trying to do, really, I mean, we need to make sure we get the nutrients, the minerals especially, that we need to run the system. But you should just stop stressing out your liver with all the crap you're taking and all the superfoods and all the... People are amazed at what we do in this program, and we whittle it down. Humans don't need fancy diets. Humans don't need fancy supplements. Humans need some basics, and then don't put a bunch of crap in the system. Like, just imagine your car. You put leaded gas in your unleaded car. Is it going to run right? Nope. Might you be able to drive it for some amount of time? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. But is it going to ruin your engine? Yeah, it's not designed for that. So, Carl, I don't know what your comment about just a coincidence is. So Sam says, can the calcium-potassium ratio on hair tests actually be changed? Mine is extremely high, favoring calcium. Yeah, I fix calcium to potassium ratios all the time. Actually, I'm hoping that today, after I do my inner circle video Q&A after this, that I'm going to do a video, a live stream here on this channel. I probably won't announce it because I'm just going to do it when I have the time, but I'm going to go over my labs, my hair test and my bloods. I will do it soon. If I don't do it today, I will do it soon. I have my recent blood tests. Ever since I started the Lactoferrin, I've had almost a 50% drop in my vitamin A level. It's really interesting. Why would that happen? You fix cholestasis, the bile goes where it's supposed to go, and you don't get all these poisons in your blood. So, can the calcium-potassium... Here's the thing about the calcium-potassium ratio. For those of you who are into hair testing, calcium is very easy to manipulate. Most of you out there in hair testing have been taught incorrectly to give vitamin A as part of the standard recommended supplements by the labs. Huge mistake. Huge. You also may be taking calcium, thinking that you need that. You've been duped by the Rockefellers and their dairy industry into thinking you need more calcium. You don't. And then you may be taking vitamin D supplements. Rat poison. Watch my video on this channel. Vitamin A causes hypercalcemia, high calcium in the blood, which will then over time show up as high calcium in the hair. What do you think calcium is going to do to your calcium? Vitamin D. Vitamin D in excess causes hypercalcemia in the blood. Oh, wait, you have 3 things that would raise calcium in the blood. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to raise calcium in the blood, and you're going to start calcifying where you stand. You are going to start slowly turning into a statue, and you're going to feel it in your muscles. You're going to feel it in your joints. You're going to feel it in your brain. Go and look up radiology for all the cancers. One of the things they use, the way they find cancers on x-rays and stuff like that, they're finding the calcium deposits. Isn't that what x-rays see, like bones and stuff like that? They see calcium. Your health problems are calcium deposits for a lot of it. They go and they look at benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, one of the things I fixed in myself. How do they see it? They see the calcium deposits down there. So calcium, pretty easy to manipulate. We work on magnesium, we work on zinc levels, we get people getting natural sunlight or UVB. We do not have them take vitamin D. We have them avoid vitamin A. We fix their calcium levels. My last calcium level was a 37. Perfect is around a 40. Interesting. Do I take vitamin A? No, I avoid it. Do I take vitamin D supplements? No, I avoid it. Do I get my sun? Yeah, I go on walks all the time. Do I use my topical magnesium? Yes, I do. I do both. I mix up the spray, topical spray, and I do some baths. Do I take my zinc? Yes. I test. I don't guess on my zinc. I do blood testing and I do hair testing. Crazy. So calcium is easy to fix if you're working with the right people. Here's the thing about potassium on a hair test. Potassium on a hair test is not determined by how much you are eating or not eating. In the research, it is shown that vitamin D supplements will deplete potassium. In the research, it is shown that vitamin A blocks potassium receptors and channels. They block potassium channels. Vitamin D depleting potassium, vitamin A blocking potassium channels. Oh, and then you have copper, which comes in and depletes potassium further. What do I fix? I fix all of those problems. And then over time, what we see on the hair test is on the hair test, the potassium level starts coming up on its own into the range that we want it. I want potassium between 5 and 10. Where was my last potassium level? As I'll go over in the video, mine was, I don't remember exactly what the number was, but I was between 5 and 10. Gosh, I fixed my calcium to potassium ratio. Not by taking a crazy amount of potassium, because that's not how we fix it. Potassium is fixed by each person based on symptoms. Calcium is easy to fix. Just takes time. You got to stop putting poisons in your body. But overall ratios, here's the thing people in hair analysis don't get. So you're saying if your calcium potassium ratio is too high, what do we do to fix it? You stop looking at the ratio. You fix the calcium, get that to go where it's supposed to go. You fix the potassium, which takes time and doing the right things, and to get that to where it needs to go. I'll tell you that potassium, when you do the right things, fixes itself. So does calcium. I have found that I don't need to hammer things into place, which is what most of hair analysis is. They're taking all these nutrients, trying to force the bars to go the direction that they want. That's not what we're trying to do. Your body should get those levels to go where they should go when you get rid of what it doesn't want, give it what it needs. That's it. If you're out there, I mean, I got to tell you, I reverse engineered the whole hair analysis. I have a gift for this stuff. Systems, patterns, that's what I do. I went and I looked at all the things that they suggested to do on hair tests. I read the garbage textbook out there on hair analysis, garbage. I saw over the years what the hair analysis labs did, and I went and I looked at different tests of mine because I do my hair test every month. So I get to get real-time data much faster. That's what this hairstyle is very good for. It's for getting hair tests every month. And I watched and I took what they said to do in a certain hair analysis pattern. I took what they said to do. I did it. Did it work? No. So then I did the opposite, which is not the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So what do I do? One of my key treatment philosophies is if we're doing something with somebody and we keep getting the opposite of what we expect, do we keep doing that? No. We stop and we do the opposite. So if you're working with practitioners, oh, I don't know, there's several groups of them out there. You're doing what they say, taking oils or eating toxic minerals or doing these things, and you're getting worse. And they tell you you just need to do more of the things that were making you worse. That's the definition of insanity. Don't do that. And still, but here's the kicker. So if you're doing what they say and you're like, well, I paid them money, I want to listen to them, I'm going to do what they say. So you're doing what they say and you get back to them and you're like, I'm doing worse. And they tell you to do more of that. And you do it. And let's say you notice you very quickly get even worse. There you go. You tested it. You gave them a chance. You got worse. Stop doing that. I have a woman whose cod liver oil was raised 3 times in her stint with a protocol practitioner. She ended up going to the hospital for a minor stroke. And it was after her neurologist suggested that she might be getting vitamin A toxicity from the recommendations of these protocol people that she found me, and then we got her out of all of that and we fixed her multiple chemical sensitivity. And yeah. Let's see. I want to make sure I hit these. I got to get going pretty soon here, like within Muzafar asks, why shouldn't we eat white peppers? What do they have? Peppers, capsicum are poison. You can search Nightshade and Garrett Smith and you can find my article. Peppers, nightshades are, in general, tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, eggplant, and goji berries have been known for hundreds of years to be some of the most toxic foods around. That's why one of the nightshades is called deadly nightshade. Deadly nightshade. I go over all that stuff in my article. Just had somebody yesterday, a 17-year-old woman, all sorts of joint pain. I start talking to them the very first thing about nightshades, and the mom says, well, we do eat a lot of potatoes around the house. And I'm like, that could be a problem. And then as I'm going through the other nightshades, then the teenage woman says, I eat a lot of spicy food. And I was like, there's your pain. There's your pain. Why do cops use pepper spray? Is it because it's anti-inflammatory? Do cops use pepper spray because it's anti-inflammatory? No, it's a chemical irritant. Does your mouth burn when you eat spicy food because it's anti-inflammatory? No. If you get pepper on your fingers and you get some in your eyes, is that anti-inflammatory for your eyes? No. When the peppers come out your rear end and they burn on their way out, do you think that's anti-inflammatory? Let me see. Let me do this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. The study on gastric cancer in Mexico. Oh, I'm going to have to find it. I hope this is it. No, that's not it. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. Got it. Chili, capsaicin, and the risk of gastric/stomach cancer. Where was it? Let me find 17. So this is not the original study. You could look into their references, but this is a quote from it. I just wanted to get it out there. In another previous study done by the researchers from the Yale University School of Medicine, Connecticut, in 1994, they analyzed the data from 220 gastric cancer cases, that's stomach cancer, and 752 controls from a population-based case control study conducted in Mexico City during 1989 to 1990 to evaluate the association between hot chili pepper consumption and gastric/stomach cancer risk. And they have the reference right there. The study found that compared to those who did not consume chili peppers, those who consumed very high amounts of hot chili peppers were associated with a 17.11% increased risk of gastric cancers. That's not, they didn't write that right. That's a 17 times increased risk of gastric cancers. I've seen the actual paper. It's not 17% increased risk. It's 17 times higher risk. The researchers concluded that a high consumption of hot chili peppers may be a strong risk for gastric/stomach cancer. Here's another one. A study done by the National Institute of Public Health in Mexico evaluated the potential interactions between various factors such as intake of capsaicin-rich hot chili peppers, infectious factors such as H. pylori, and genetic factors such as IL-1B-31 genotypes on stomach gastric cancer risk. The study found that a moderate to high intake of capsaicin synergistically increased the risk of gastric/stomach cancer in genetically susceptible individuals who were IL-1B-31C allele characters and were infected with the more virulent H. pylori strains. Wow, they have a lot of papers here about spicy foods, capsaicin, and cancer. Don't eat spicy food. Nature is telling you, if you give children the first time they eat spicy food, do they want more of it? No, they absolutely do not. Will they eat it because it's culturally something to do? Yes. Is there research out there showing that spicy foods increase adrenaline and cortisol? Yes. How would that make people feel? It would make them feel good at the start, like a drug. And then it would fade off and you'd be left with all the inflammatory damage that poison does. Now, so that's peppers. Real quick on peppers. If you're talking about peppercorns, white peppercorns, black peppercorns, red peppercorns, pepper is well known to slow down the cytochrome system of the liver. So we're talking about peppercorns here, not capsicum. They slow down the liver. That's the exact opposite of what we want. So just think, if you ate a bunch of pepper, and just so you know, pre-ground pepper is full of mold. Pre-ground pepper is, you crack open the hard outside and you've got this moist inside of a peppercorn, and it starts to mold. And then you take in the compounds like piperine, that the reason why they use piperine in foods like, turmeric or curcumin supplements is because it slows down your liver's ability to break them down and get rid of them. So they see higher levels in your blood. So peppercorns slow down your liver. Spicy peppers are just an irritant, a chemical irritant used in the military and in the police world as something to cause you problems in high doses. And what do you see on all the restaurants these days and on all the foods? Now, spicy, super spicy. It's a concerted attack. And everybody's just eating it up. Thinking, how could they be so wrong? They said it was anti-inflammatory. If it's mainstream conventional or mainstream alternative, you can be 99% sure it's bad for you. I think I got to get going now. Ray Pizza psyop. Peat inspired me to take 50,000 IUs of retinol palmitate for a year. Worst advice ever. Oh, but Ray Peat says that vitamin A is good for your thyroid. That's wrong, as you found out, as I found out. What is my opinion on NAC acutely for liver damage? I'm not going there. I don't go into acute stuff. N-acetylcysteine is sulfur. Smells like sulfur when you open it. Smells like sulfur when you fart it out. When you take things like sulfur, what you're usually doing is slowing down your aldehyde dehydrogenase system, which then allows you to make less aldehydes, or sorry, make less acids like retinoic acid, acetic acid, formic acid. And that helps you get through the acute crisis without croaking. This is like modern, like hospital medicine. Nobody ever said that the things they do to save your life in the hospital help your longevity. Can they save you from dying? Yeah. Might they cause you long-term damage? Definitely. A lot of people know about that. So what do we choose? If I'm in a car accident, I'm going to the hospital. Keep me alive. And then I tell the people who care for me, get me the hell out of that hospital as soon as I'm awake. Because once I'm alive, I don't want them anymore. Keep me alive and then get the hell away from me. Yeah, NAC is a supplement garbage. It's just sulfur. Oh, so somebody was saying the stevia was on the number 12 Love Your Liver program. How do you raise this is the last question. How do you raise potassium? Does it actually change the thyroid when it's fixed? Better than Ray Peat? Question mark. Really, when you look at the calcium to potassium ratio and you go, oh, you have a bad calcium to potassium ratio, it's too high or it's too low, your thyroid's not working right. You don't want to, and I can tell you ratios on the hair test for people who are trying to like diagnose you by ratios and tell you how you're feeling by ratios. I can tell you the ratios work on the first test. I used to sound like a guru being able to tell people how they were feeling based on their hair mineral ratios on the first test. Yes, it impressed them. Did it help anything? No, it didn't move anything forward. You cannot fix a ratio directly. Calcium to potassium ratio. You can't fix the calcium potassium ratio. It's a math equation made up of calcium and potassium. So the only things we can do is we can fix calcium and get it to go where we want it. And we can fix potassium and get it to go where we want it. So anybody who's wasting time on ratios, trying to fearmonger you on ratios, that's what they do it for. They do it to fearmonger you and tell you how sick you are. Even though you may not feel that bad, they're going to tell you how much you need them and you need to fix these ratios. And do ratios change every hair test? Yes, they change every hair test. If we're changing the levels, we should be changing the ratios. Do we help people? I just had a lady yesterday, longtime client, diagnosed with Hashimoto's, thyroid antibodies. She does not have elevated thyroid antibodies of either type anymore. So here's how it goes. Here's how the thyroid goes. We had whatever healthy and normal was for the person. As they get more toxic and more nutrient deficient, then we start seeing the hypothyroid start showing up, the low thyroid symptoms. And then as they get even more toxic, then you see the autoimmunity show up. You see the antibodies. The antibodies show up in poisoning. That's when they show up. Antibodies, autoimmunity is a poisoning of you, full stop. You are poisoned. Autoimmunity is the expression of your body trying to get rid of that poison and the damage the poison's doing. So if we're going to get somebody, so if somebody was normal, hypothyroid, autoimmune, they're going to come out of it in reverse order. The antibodies will go away first. Are they still going to be hypothyroid? Yeah, we're still fixing that. Yeah. It's not easy to fix in 60 and 70 and 80-year-old people. It takes a long time. Remember, the older you are, the longer this process takes, because you've got decades more of poison in your liver. And you're just not a spring chicken anymore. That's how it works. Aging is real. Anybody who tells you that aging isn't real, aging is real, but it's not anywhere near as bad as what the doctors will tell you, where you're like in your 30s and they're like, well, you're just getting older. No. So do I have people who have gotten off their thyroid meds as a process of working with me? Yes, I'd say that's an improvement in their thyroid. Do I have people who have self-lowered their own thyroid meds in the process of working with me? Yes. Do I discuss people who, as I'm working with individual clients who want to lower their thyroid meds, do we talk about potential strategies that they can use because they are in control of their medications? Not me, not their doctor. They are in charge of what they put in their own body. So we discuss what they might try and how they might watch their symptoms and what to watch for as a good sign and what to watch for as a bad sign, so they can learn to self-modulate. Do we have people who are going along who are on thyroid medication, and as we are fixing their thyroid function, that they eventually find that they're getting hyperthyroid symptoms because now they're over-medicated because their own thyroid's kicking back on and going, I'm waking up, I'm making more thyroid hormone, you're still taking the same dose of thyroid hormone, and now it's too much. So then if they're a client of mine, an active individual client, then we talk about how to get it down, what they can do, how they can adjust their own thyroid. And that's what we do. Just two quick things. Have you heard of Paul Eck? Yeah, I heard of Paul Eck. He started hair analysis. He was one of the two guys who started hair analysis, Eck and Watts. Dr. Eck got very into the energetics of nutrition and minerals. Unnecessary. Watts, trace elements. Watts stuck with the science. Watts is very science driven. The only thing is as people get older, they can't teach the old dog new tricks. New nutrition stuff that has come to light hasn't been integrated. That's like vitamin K in the hair analysis world. Vitamin K doesn't exist in the hair analysis world. Vitamin K does some important things. Vitamin K should not be something that you have to get from food. It should be made by your gut biome. And as we fix the gut biome, we see all the symptoms of vitamin K deficiency go away. And if you want to watch on this channel how vitamin A toxicity causes vitamin K deficiency, go watch that channel. Go watch the vitamin A toxicity depletes your magnesium. Go watch all the other videos on this channel. There's a lot more than the live streams. Go watch how vitamin A is ruining your health. Here's just a quick quote. This program fixed my husband's thyroid off his Armour thyroid meds. I have reduced my meds by half. This program works, but it is not a sprint. I have been at it for 2+ years. Yes, so I'm going to end with that. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We all have done damage to our livers over decades. If you were born with jaundice, you may want to ask your mom or your dad, were you born with jaundice? If you were born with jaundice, you've had liver problems your entire life. This is not fixed overnight. This is not a weekend cleanse. Anything that makes you feel amazing within a day or two, unless it's a severe nutrient deficiency that you fixed, most of the time you're taking something that's giving you a drug-like effect, and that effect ends. It's just like a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee. I feel amazing, got so much energy, and then 8 hours later, and then you drink it too much and you don't have coffee. Then you get headaches, and then you get irritability, and then you can't stay awake, and you have all these problems that you didn't have before coffee. Drug effects are very real, and lots of the honeymoon effects that people get from things are drug effects, and they go away and they leave you worse off in the end. So if you're doing any health approaches that seem to do amazing things at the start, and then over months or over a year, all that, you're still doing the same stuff, and all that stuff faded away, and now you're worse than you were before, you got duped by what I call the duration paradox, which is where it helps in the start and it all falls apart in the end. You got duped. We've all been duped. And the thing to do would be to stop doing that and get onto something simpler. So that's what I got for today. Again, if you are interested in the Lactoferrin, the Nutrition Detective Lactoferrin, best stuff on the market, just go to nutritiondetective.com. Note that smallpox interesting coincidences that I said earlier. You can also go Google COVID and Lactoferrin. That's a fun one to Google. And go look up Lactoferrin and any disease you want. Bovine Lactoferrin is if you want to search for the cow stuff that we're actually using. And have fun with that. We're going to go over more stuff like that in the future. But that's all I have for today. I'm late for my inner circle group. So I will see you all next time. Signing off, Dr. Garrett Smith, the Nutrition Detective. Have a great weekend. Bye.